That is yours. As long as I can put mine there, we're good. Oh, good. Thank you, Linda.
Talking into a mic. Hi, good morning. Are you ready to sing some gathering songs?
Stay here, right?
Would you rise in body or
odd
spirit as you like and join me in our opening hymns?
Oh, it
Thank
does.
you.
Thank you. That is our lives. We spring our thanks and praise for all life is here.
Welcome to Namaqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are glad you are here. My name is Linda Lyons, and I'm your worship associate for today. A little less bright. Thank you. This is a Come As You Are congregation, and you are welcome here, just as you are. I want to extend a special welcome to any visitors. We would love to stay connected, so please sign up for communication at the back, where we have some ushers who will give you some literature. Here at Namaqua UU, we foster a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving search for truth and meaning. We honor this ground that we walk upon, acknowledge this land as traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples as the original stewards and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. Welcome. So we have some exciting things happening this week, y'all. On Friday, on June 5th, volunteers are needed for the Loveland Community Kitchen from 4 to 7. So if you're interested, you'll be contacting Sue Matthews. Yep. And there's more information about this on the backs of your OOS, your order of service. Planting Day is a big one at Benson Park. It's come around here again, and volunteers are needed this Saturday, June 6th. Yes, Saturday in the morning, even though some of us will be partying in the afternoon. We are assisting in cleaning up. Did you want to say more about it? We're probably not going to do it on June 6th.
So probably June 5th, and just talk to me.
Okay, probably June 5th. But the idea is we're cleaning up, planting, fertilizing, mulching the gardens that we sponsor. So Namaqua has a garden at Benson Garden, Sculpture Garden, that we tend. And so in the beginning of the season, we go and help get it ready for the season. So if you are interested in doing that, it's a really fun day because people from all over the community are coming and tending the gardens. They all have their individual slots and plots. And Kathy Hartman is the one who is going to organize that. And that's because next weekend, drum roll please, we are celebrating Namaqua's 25th anniversary. On June 6th, that's Saturday, we're going to have a picnic and a program at Namaqua Park from 2 to 4 p.m. Come for the conversation, the history, the champagne. The Yuyuks will be playing. We'll have some light snacks, and old and new friends will be joining us at the park. And that's off of 1st Avenue in Namaqua. And then on Sunday, if that isn't enough to celebrate on Saturday, on June 7th, Dr. Claire Hammer will lead the Sunday service. The music director, Jessie, can't be here for that day, but has organized a really special 25th anniversary alumni choir for the event. And Ryan Marvel will make a guest appearance as our choir conductor that day. And if you've been here a while, you know who Ryan is, extra special event. So that will be really lovely as well. And after the service, we'd love for you to join us for coffee hour in Parker Hall. Thank you to all who helped out with this service today, and for all who are helping us spread our love in this worship.
Well, good morning. I'm Reverend Lydia, your pastoral care minister, and I am delighted to be offering a service this morning on caring. And the opening words today are from my colleague, the Reverend Kristen Harper, who I learned in researching her, she is the longest tenured African-American senior female minister in our denomination right now. She's been with her congregation for like 15 years or so, so blessings to her. And this is entitled Each Day. Each day provides us with an opportunity to love again, or to hurt again, to embrace joy, to experience unease, or to discover the tragic. Each day provides us an opportunity to live. This day is no different, this hour no more unique than the last, except maybe today, maybe now, among friends and fellow journeyers, maybe for the first time, and I'll add, or maybe for the millionth, maybe silently, we can share ourselves. Welcome to worship. Let us join together in this community of sharing and caring. And please join me in singing our opening hymn, one of my favorites, Gather the Spirit. If you want to follow along with the notes, it's at number 347 in the gray hymnal.
We have it up there now.
Yeah, but you're doing the congregational affirmation now. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery.
Join me now in the congregational affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Greet your neighbors.
Oh, greeting of our neighbors. Yes.
Make sure you know who you're next to.
Delightful to have you all greeting each other. Okay, friendly people. I want the opportunity now.
Oh,
Hey,
wait.
Slip, can you play a couple chords to quiet people down? Well, friendly people. I wanted to, this is lovely because this reminds me that next Saturday, again, I'm going to say this, you will have an opportunity to do all this chatting with people at the anniversary, right? And Carol Barton wants you to RSVP to her. So please do RSVP to Carol, and maybe Carol, people can talk to you after church and you can write their names down because I don't want to read an email address like right now. Okay? The email address is on the postcard. Perfect. Okay. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want an opportunity to greet and get to know the children of the congregation a little bit better, and anybody who might feel young at heart as I share a story with you. Anybody want to come up here? No pressure. But you might see the pictures better if you're up here, right? So, all right. Well, this is a story called "What Is Given from the Heart," and it's written by Patricia McKissack, and she wrote a lot of books, and it has these great pictures in it, right? Oh my gosh, she did not do the pictures. Oh, can you see those pictures? And she wrote a lot of books about people, African American community. And from reading this, I think it's a lot about the African American community in the South of this country. But when I was reading this, I thought, this makes sense for a lot of people and a lot of the ways that people interact with each other. So I'm going to sit here so you can see the pictures better. All right? And then I will turn the book around so other people can see the pictures too, though. It's a story about a little boy named James Otis. Oh, is that your name too? Oh, do you know someone named James? No. It's a very beautiful name, though. And James is telling the story, and James says, "It was a rough few months for Mama and me. We were already pretty poor, and things just got a little worse for us." And here you can see James and his mom. Yeah. On Friday the 13th, it was raining frogs. It was raining so hard. And everything was flooded, and Smitty, my dog, disappeared. "Misery loves company," Mama said, shaking her head as she swept water out the back door. I hugged her up close, as I always did when she was sad or I was scared. "Long as we have our health and our strength, we are blessed, James Otis," Mama said, trying to sound brave. But things didn't get any better. We got an early snowfall in November, and Christmas was skimpy. But we made it through the new year. Sometimes that happens in families. Things get really rough, right? And the kids might not feel like they have everything they need, but if there's love in the family, look at this. Look at how much this family loves each other. Can you see that? Before I realized it, February was upon us with Valentine's Day just 2 weeks away. One Sunday, Reverend Dennis made an announcement during the service. "Just as we always do around Valentine's Day, we'll be delivering love boxes to some needy folks in our community," he said. "Irene Temple and her little girl have lost everything in a fire. We must add them to our list. Next week, bring whatever you might think is useful to them. And remember, what is given from the heart reaches the heart." You know, I was used to be in a congregation where there was a really big fire, and 4 people in our congregation lost everything that they had in their homes. And our congregation did something kind of like this. We rallied around them. James, Otis, we need to help out, Mama said on the cold walk home. I came back with, how are we going to do that, Mama? We ain't got nothing ourselves. Mama just kept right on talking. Sister Bunch told me the daughter's name is Sarah. She's 7, 2 years younger than you. Maybe you can find a little bit of something for her, don't you think? I wasn't convinced. What do I have that a little girl would want? Now, Mama said, remember what Reverend Dennis said? What is given from the heart reaches the heart. That night, I lay warm and toasty under one of Mama's quilts. Still, it made me tremble to think about fire taking away what little that they had. What could I give Sarah to make up for all that she's lost, I wondered. I considered the blue ribbon that I'd won at a spelling bee. Nah, that was important to me, but it wouldn't mean anything to her. I looked over my beautiful sparkling rock, the one I'd found down by the creek. But how would that help Sarah? You can't eat a rock. Unable to come up with anything good, I pulled the covers over my head and drifted off to sleep. Come morning, I found Mama in the kitchen busy sewing. I know if we had a fire, I would miss my aprons, Mama explained. So I've decided to make Mrs. Temple one. But Mama, you're using your white tablecloth, the only nice thing we have. James, Otis, I'm stitching with a loving heart. My hope is that this apron will bring as much joy to Mrs. Temple as the tablecloth has given to me. Mama's smile was always such a welcome sight. That made me think even harder about what I could contribute. Maybe Sarah would like something to play with, like my whistle from Dexter Benson's birthday party. But it had my spit all over it. What about my crayons? I drew so many pictures with them, even though the black, pink, and the dark blue were missing. No way, I wouldn't give her used crayons. I couldn't give her my pencil that was just a nub with not much eraser left either. It was getting closer to Valentine's Day, and I was fretting more and more. I considered giving Sarah a puzzle. It didn't bother me that 2 pieces were missing, but it might bother her. That wouldn't do either. Not even with a bow on it. And neither would my capeless Superman Halloween costume. Then I remembered my book, Things That Roll. Mom had paid 10 cents for it at a retail shop. I read it every night till I'd memorized each word, and then I drew pictures on all of the stuff that rolled. Sarah might enjoy my books, I thought, but maybe she didn't like trucks and marbles and all the pictures I drew on it. That still got me thinking. I gathered my crayons, my pencil, some paper, and I got busy. On the Sunday before Valentine's Day, we were off to church. There goes everybody walking to church. I wish you all could see all these beautiful pictures because they are so gorgeous. So everybody's walking to church as usual. Along the way, Mama said, as usual, the trustees will deliver love boxes to all the homes of people in need. But Reverend Davis has invited the Temples to receive theirs at Olive Chapel so they can meet the congregation. The church was full. Mama beat. Same to you, she said, looking at her feet. She looks a little scared, doesn't she? Here, I said, handing her my gift, I wrote it, drew the pictures, and put it together by myself, just for you. On the cover of the book that I wrote, it said, From My Heart to Your Heart by James Otis Petty. It's about a little girl named Sarah. And, she said, don't tell me. I want to read it by myself and for myself. I can't believe it. It's a book about me. and she covered her mouth with a giggle. Seeing how happy Sarah was made me happy too. I laughed out loud. I put some hard words in it so you can look them up. You sound like a teacher, she said, and she pressed her heart to the book. Oh, thank you, James Otis. I will keep this book forever and ever. Walking home, Mama held my hand. The Temples looked so grateful, she said. I think we reached their hearts, I said. I'm going to get teary. Mama said, I'm proud of you, James Otis. How come, I said. 'Cause you're you. In winter, night comes early. The sky was darkening and it had started to snow. I stuck my tongue out to catch snowflakes as Mama spun joyfully around and around. Suddenly, Mama stopped. Look, she said, there's something on our porch. I rushed around, and there it was, a love box that had been delivered to us. And our hearts rejoiced. Our hearts rejoiced. So when I think of this story, I just think of how special and important it is to have congregations where people can give to each other. Does it make you think of anything else? No? No? Well, you can take that little story and put it in your heart and see what shows up for you maybe, or talk to your folks about it. I hope you enjoyed it. And now we're going to sing our children into their classes. And off with love, we love them all, and our children off with love, your dream will how cherish they are, hope they know how cherish they are. Mm-hmm.
Linda, we're having technical difficulties with the mics. Yeah. So Lydia's turned on. I don't think you're on. So just speak loudly and we'll.
Oh, don't worry, I can do that.
Do you want to use that mic instead? It's because the Zoom people can't hear us, or going to hear better with. Oh, I need a match.
All right, don't worry, you won't be able to hear me. Okay, our child sliding words today are in the form of a responsive reading, which is number 468 in your grade hymnal, if you would like to follow along there. But they'll also be on the screen.
I need a match.
It's called We Need One Another by Reverend George Odell, who is a Unitarian minister. I will be reading what's in white. You will be following along in what's in blue. Can you read the blue? Yes. Okay. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
term minister is widely used in the faith community, but reflect on that word for a moment. Are you thinking of the noun minister, defined by dictionary.com as a person authorized to conduct religious worship, like our friend Lydia here? Or are you thinking of the verb to minister? It means to give service, care, or aid. Here at Namaqua, we like to think broadly and inclusively. And when it comes to our view of ministry, we directly say we are a congregation with a shared ministry. Caring is not solely the purview of the, quote, minister. It is the responsibility of all of us to minister to each other. Our community ministers to each other all the time in thousands of ways. The Pastoral Care Ministry, which I chair, lives Namaqua's caring goal by offering support to Namaqua members and friends dealing with the tough issues of everyday life. We do this in concert with our minister, and Lydia is now, for the next period of time, our pastoral care minister, sharing that ministry role with Reverend Claire. Broadly speaking, we pastoral care members provide warm, friendly, nurturing support, the sort of things a caring friend or neighbor could offer: an attentive ear, a healthy meal, a ride to a critical appointment. We do not provide counseling, treatment, therapy, or any legal advice. Professional pastoral counseling is the purview of our professionally trained minister. Please call Lydia if you have that need. Just who are the wonderful, caring members of the Pastoral Care Ministry? Would the following please stand and remain standing while I call your name? Everybody hold your applause till we're done. Our team members are Kathy Hartman, Els Steininger, who I think is still in Europe, Anne-Marie Kayensky, she's around someplace, there she is. Nina Bear, I saw Nina this morning, there she is as well. Thank you all. These are the members of our ministry, our official, but most of our calls deal with health issues. Thank you all, and thank you for everybody. We have Namaqua members who are homebound, either temporarily or long-term. We need help picking up a quick prescription or a few groceries, which can make all the difference. Sometimes there's a need for help around the house, a simple repair, moving assistance, or troubleshooting a troubling cell phone. Sometimes needs are simply social. Isolated folks would love an invitation to coffee or a warm phone call. We on the ministry team that I just introduced are not the only members of the congregation who give pastoral care. We are simply the organizers. We rely on the entire congregation to not just identify the needs of those who need help, but to help with their actual support. We're passing the clipboards around right now. Here they come. Thank you, ushers. If you want to help, please sign to be contacted when we are looking for meals, ride, tech support, or handy people. If you've already signed out, you don't have to do it again. Thank you very much. But if you don't remember, sign up again. We cannot do our job without your help. I promise we won't call on you often, and I know your gifts will be deeply appreciated. I speak as one who knows. I've had a couple of my own health crises. Excellent medical care meant I was basically repaired, but I returned home, and I do live alone, weak, overwhelmed, and a bit confused. I needed much more healing time. I didn't need more professional services, but I could not drive or cook or even walk my dog. When the calls went out each time, over 24 Namaquans stepped up and made it possible for me to stay at home and care for myself again. Without those weeks of meals and chauffeured trips to physical therapy, I would have had to go into rehab. With Namaqua's help, I stayed in my own home with my dog by my side. Namaqua embraces the message of giving care. This is how we hold each other in community. This is how Namaqua walks our talk. The pastoral care team thanks all of you who give that care. Thank you. Please note that on the back and at the bottom of your order of service, there is contact information on the various members of the pastoral care team. Nina, I apologize. She's fairly new to our group, and she's not on this particular one, but call Nina as well. We are producing some pew cards, small cards that we'll leave all around that'll have that information you can take home as well. And now it's time for joys and concerns. If you would like to briefly share an important personal event with the congregation, please stand and Linda will bring you the mic. Don't forget to introduce yourselves. We do want to help and follow up with you. Congregation, when people stand, please respond by holding them in our hearts. Who would like? Okay.
Hi, I'm Brian. My sister, a year and a half younger than me, has been diagnosed with bone cancer, is in hospice care in Bellingham, Washington, our hometown. And we're very close, and it's a tough situation.
Brian, we hold you in our hearts.
Hi, I'm Gary Klein, and we reached a milestone. So yesterday, we were married for 47 years.
For all those celebrations, we hold you in our hearts.
Hi, I'm Katie. So my youngest and I, who goes by Jasper now, we're going to be in a production of Jagged Little Pill in August. We're the first theater company to do this show, which is really exciting. But I actually wanted to come up and tell you we're also doing a fundraiser for a special opportunity next year where we're collecting shoes. We just need shoes, and we get money for donating them, essentially. So come talk to me if you want more information. I'm sure we all have shoes at home that we no longer wear. So, thank you.
For all that playtime, we hold you in our hearts.
Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? Doug?
Says that he turned 77 yesterday. His joy is 77 satisfying and lucky years. The sorrow is losing so many special people, including both parents when he was 40 and a brother 6 years ago. Many others. Wish they were all still here.
Happy birthday, Fred, and we hold you in our hearts. Anybody else? Thank you all.
I'm going to invite you into a few moments of silent meditation. Just settle into your seat and allow your body to get comfortable. you'd like, you can start paying attention to your breath, just how it goes in and out, naturally, without being forced. Just takes in the oxygen you need and releases the carbon dioxide you don't need, all on its own. It's a miracle, really. UU religious educator and author Lila Ibrahim writes, "We come to church to learn to love better." As you settle here for the next minute or so, if it's helpful, you might imagine using the words as you inhale, saying to yourself, "Here I receive love." And as you exhale, saying to yourself, "Here I offer love." Join me in singing "When I Am Frightened," number 1012 in the teal hymnal if you want, but also up on the board.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
What does it mean to care? throughout all the phases of life, in the face of change. We begin parenting by primarily caring for a small being who's totally dependent on us. As our children mature, our role shifts from caring for them to caring about them, guiding them, supporting, and gradually walking beside them. Eventually, the balance can swing again, where a loved one we once nurtured may need our care in a new and different way. This role reversal doesn't happen overnight. It's very gradual, often disorienting to both the caregiver and the person going through it. And it's a process of recognizing change and adapting. We move from friend and supporter to caregiver while trying to preserve dignity, autonomy, and the friendship we value. That balance is delicate. We are helping them to simplify tasks and create a safe environment without making that person feel helpless, and it requires patience and empathy. In caring for a dear friend of mine who is mentally declining, I have found my strength is in listening with empathy and reminding myself to answer repeated questions calmly. My resolve has been to maintain our friendship and keep our social connection alive. Some of our more difficult conversations often involve suggesting simplifications and safety measures without stripping away independence. It often gets tense, and I mean very tense. And that tension can be draining. So how does one navigate this roller coaster of emotions? If you find yourself in a caregiver role, here are some practical tips for navigating the role shift. Expect gradual change, but watch for patterns like memory lapses, safety risks, decision-making decline, and then plan. Preserve dignity. Frame your help as a collaboration. Like, let's do this together, rather than, you can't do this, let me help you. It won't go very far, let me tell you. Help simplify their tasks, but very subtly. Reduce the steps they have to take, offer tools or visuals, make the environment safer without constant correction. One of the things that I was trying to do when this started happening was try to correct it and bring it back into reality, but that just caused more upsetness and confusion. So really just using patience and validating the person. Respond with those repeated questions with calm reassurance and validate their feelings, and not necessarily what is fact. Maintain the connection, like I said. Sustain your shared activities and social ties to preserve identity and quality of life, because it's really lonely in that place where they're coming from, and they do get really lonely. Set clear boundaries, though. Define specific times of caregiving, the respite that you will need, and personal needs. Communicate them compassionately. Help them build a support team. Involve family, friends. How about the neighbors that know and love them as well? Sometimes they can be spending time with those people. And then professionals if possible. Plan ahead. Help them with their legal and financial planning by sending them to the right person. We can't be all of that to them, nor should we. Schedule regular breaks. There are adult day programs for those people if they need to be in that day program. And there's paid help that can come in and help out for a couple hours while you need help. but mostly manage the emotions. You may need to seek counseling for yourself. There are caregiver support groups and peer networks, because in this process there will be some grieving and loss. There will be guilt. And trust me, there's a lot of frustration. This is a person that you know and love, but they're not the same person that they were maybe before. Caring for someone who is mentally declining demands time and emotional energy. Self-care isn't optional. It's a must, because you can't give from an empty cup. On high need days, I prioritize respite, and I have to continually reset my boundaries so I can keep showing up sustainably. For our offering today, we are supporting the work of this congregation and all the ways we live our values in the world through our generosity. In addition to supporting this church, a portion of our donations support a local nonprofit organization helping to make a difference beyond our walls. During the months of May and June, we are partnering with Homeward Alliance, and a few weeks ago you heard a few words from them. But Homeward Alliance operates a continuum of programs and initiatives for families, adults, and seniors, such as basic needs, housing-focused case management, and employment services. They are not only an alliance of services, but an alliance of volunteers, donors, agency partners, and other community stakeholders. They envision a community in which homelessness is rare, short-lived, and non-recurring. So please give generously to this important work. Thank you.
No one here to guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly, no one is alone. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you. You decide what's good. You decide alone. But no one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes, holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right, giants can be good. You decide what's right, you decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side, someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will come out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
That was so beautiful, Slip. Thank you so much. I'm taking a class now. It's a year-long class based on a book called A Year to Live. Is anybody familiar with that book? It's by Stephen Levine. He was a pioneering figure in the Buddhist conscious dying movement. So the class is a thought experiment, inviting us to imagine that each of us in the class will be dead on February 22nd, 2027, a year after the first monthly class. Now that might sound a little macabre. People are like, what? You're doing what? And it's certainly challenging, but it's also so clarifying to reflect upon this blip of a lifespan I will have, whether it's for one more year or for another 30. I know for some of you with serious illness, a year to live might be more than a thought experiment, possibly a very real prospect. Accepting death as an inevitable part of life, no matter how close at hand it may be, is key to Buddhist practice, and for good reason. As part of this class, we're invited to read the 5 remembrances each and every day. The 5 remembrances are among the foundational teachings of Theravada Buddhism. And here they are. They're posted in my bathroom, so I can't forget to read them. Here they go. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape ill health. I am of the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. This next one is my hardest one. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. And the 5th one, my actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. I've been changed by reading these words every single day. First of all, I feel less alone in my own stuff. There's no escaping these losses. Welcome to the human condition. Second, repeating these phrases every day has increased my understanding of how very precious life is. I notice more, I comment on beauty when I see it in nature and in other people's creativity. My God, there's so much creativity in this world. And people are bringing it into the world all the time. And for me to have that, the aliveness that I feel noticing that and taking note of that. And then I'm more likely to express that gratitude. I text friends regularly now. Thanks so much for this or that, or thinking about you today. And finally, I'm getting my affairs in order, updating my will. My kids are both young adults now. You know, when we wrote the will, they were like 2 and 5. Sharing details about my end-of-life wishes with my family, all those. My husband and I now have a folder called Adulting, that we're back in the adulting phase again. All those things that have been so easy to leave for tomorrow, we're taking care of today. And my husband's taking the class with me. One of the funny things is we'll look at each other and be like, should we go get ice cream tonight? A year to live. Let's go. One of the great things about Buddhism is this invitation to stay awake to the preciousness of life and accepting its finality. In his book, Love and Death, my colleague, the Reverend Dr. Forrest Church, shares his understanding about the fragility of life while he himself was dying of esophageal cancer. Forrest Church says it this way: life is not a given, but a wondrous gift. That gift comes with a price tag attached. Someday something will steal it from us. That doesn't diminish our lives. It increases their value. Life is full of unanticipated events. Some are life-altering, some literally life-ending. A stroke or a heart attack, a phone call that brings you the news of the death of someone you love, a drunken driver taking a life, a bike accident. None of us is immune to life's tragedies. Welcome to the human condition. Reverend Church uses the metaphor trap doors to remind us of how fragile and precious life is. And that image has stayed with me ever since I read this book, a dozen or more years ago. Here's the book. I really recommend it. It's a fabulous book. You can look through it at coffee hour. But that image of a trap door that could open at any moment, I imagine it hurling me down into some sort of a dusty dungeon-like space and then with a big splat at the bottom. I know, I'm kind of weird that way, but that's the image I got. And I've had my own trap doors in my life, and I'm guessing many of you have as well. One that comes to mind to me was in 2018. My husband was taking a last trip to the San Francisco Bay Area to say goodbye to colleagues he'd worked with for over 2 decades. Like that was a milestone in and of itself. My son, then 12, had his first mental health crisis and was recently relieved from a 72-hour hold. A dear friend of mine was staying with me and my family, and I was out walking the dog and got a call that my father had died suddenly at their home in New Jersey. The trapdoor of a sudden death in an already complicated family situation. My daughter, who was 16 at the time, went with me to New Jersey on a flight that day. My friend stayed with my son. My husband finished driving home. And I felt the free fall of grief of the suddenness of my father's passing just 10 days before we were to celebrate his 90th birthday. But I'll tell you, when it actually happened to me, that trapdoor metaphor only went so far. Because I didn't land splat on some dusty basement floor, alone and tattered. What I felt during those days of grief and shock was an invisible but very tangible web of support catching me in my descent, cradling me in a palpable embrace of love through the bonds of community. My people, the congregation I was serving at the time, the co-housing community I lived with, the friends I'd cultivated through my life, they were there. Not all of them physically by my side, but an embrace of love that was palpable, profoundly mystical, actually. Similarly, the death of my mother last fall also occurred in a most challenging moment in my life. My parents were not difficult people, but I would say the choosing or when they left were very complicated moments. My mother had dementia, so losing her occurred in tiny bits over many years, and I really appreciate Linda's reflection about what that's like when in that caregiving mode. When my mother took her last breath, my son was in crisis again, this time living in Los Angeles. And literally on the same morning that my mother died in New Jersey, my husband was here in Colorado beginning his first day of radiation for what we expect to be a highly treatable cancer. With all its inevitability of a life that was where death happens very slowly with dementia, and with the predictability of knowing what this cancer treatment was going to be like, it was still another trap door that flew open. And for those of you who may be wondering, that is why I left my job at Together Colorado so suddenly this fall. I knew in that moment that what I needed was just to take care of myself in those moments. Trapdoors. They happen in life. There's no escaping them. And as a minister, I've journeyed through many trapdoor moments with people. It was about 2010, I think, and a woman I'll call Sarah. She had recently joined my former congregation in Lafayette. She had come on a day when I was preaching about Parker Palmer, who is an author and writer who I absolutely love, and she absolutely loved. So she felt it was destined that she was to be there. And she and her husband, Larry, about 8 months after that, went on a camping trip to Albuquerque. And Larry started to have heart pain. They went to the hospital, and he went in for a procedure that was supposed to be a routine procedure, and he passed away in Albuquerque. I was the first person she called in her despair, not knowing what to do. I immediately called the Reverend Kristen Robinson, who was a minister at our Albuquerque UU church, and she immediately went to the hospital to be with Sarah. Sarah's husband passed. We worked out together how to get his body from across the state lines, and the congregation rallied around Sarah for a green burial and a celebration of life for her. For years after that, she said, I don't know what I would have done without this congregation. She felt like it was God calling her and her husband into the church so she could feel that connection to the congregation and have that vessel of support that she didn't have before and she wouldn't have had if she didn't have the congregation. We were there for her in a very real and tangible way. I can imagine you've heard that around here as well. I don't know what I would have done without the congregation. And perhaps you've been the one to say it, as Sally shared with us just now. I don't know any institutions better than congregations to serve in these roles. There's a network of support for when the trapdoor swings open that we have here for each other. Because we are multi-generational, so there's always those among us who've gone through a similar struggle and can share their support and can show you that you can survive and get to the other side of it. And there are always those younger than us who have more capacity and energy and can be supportive in different ways. And there's circles of relationships, so there's always those who are close in a congregation and those who are a little further out and those who are even furthest out. And the furthest out people can support the middle people who might be doing some of the key caregiving. And it's a community that grieves and celebrates together. So while you will be here in your grief, you can see and experience life still happens. The beauty of life still happens. Such a beautiful thing to have this. Now, the last 4 words of your covenant here at Namaqua are, say it with me, to help one another. It sounds simple and maybe even a little trite, but it's one of the most profound actions a congregation can do. Here at Namaqua, the pastoral care ministry is expert at providing meals, picking up groceries and prescriptions, calling on folks who are homebound. Each of these helping acts is so much more than the mere act itself. A call or a visit, a simple question like, can I help you with anything? What they really say is, I see you. You are not alone, and help is available. These are the healing balms that make this work a ministry and not just a delivery service. Each act of caring is done on behalf of the congregation, the web of support being created and co-created and recreated with each interaction you have that has that kind of kindness and love in its intention, that giving from the heart. This is so precious and more healing than any scientific journal could ever document. There's some necessities to make all of this work. First is your willingness to receive care. Those who have a willingness and capacity to give can only offer themselves when others are willing to receive. Accepting care can feel foreign or uncomfortable, especially for those who've prided themselves on their interdependence, who have been trained not to be a burden. You can nod your head if this might be you. And who have internalized what I believe are erroneous messages that to be in need is a sign of weakness, because there is no escaping times when we are in need. If we truly believe in our interdependent web, then giving and receiving are required for this beautiful exchange of energy to occur. If this receiving part is hard for you, remind yourself of the many ways, big and small, that you've contributed to this congregation or this community, and allow yourself the gift of that reciprocity. And if you really have to, which sometimes I have to do it for the person who's offering the help. But don't accept anything that you really wouldn't want. Now, second, in terms of some things that are important for this to work well, is to know your limits if you're the caring person. And Linda so beautifully reminded us that you cannot give from an empty cup. And a congregation with so many people means you, as a caregiver, can reach outward and ask for care yourself, or ask for someone to spell you for some of the work you're doing. Also, remember that caring does not equal fixing. Meals, errands, and rides are all beautiful ways to alleviate some of the challenges a person may be having. But a caring ministry, or a pastoral care minister, for that matter, does not replace a case manager, a social worker, or a medical professional when it's warranted. Our role is primarily love-based, and that has a healing potential for sure. We're on a journey with you through life's inevitable and inescapable twists and turns. Pastoral care ministry is a ministry of accompaniment, whether delivered in the form of a meal or a visit from me. My role as your pastoral care minister is providing a safe container and a listening ear to help you make meaning of the situation of your life or of your loss. To remind you that you belong in this world, even in your deepest despair, even with your big questions, and that these do pass, life gets a little better, and you are not alone. It can be hard to live with the facts that we cannot escape illness, death, and loss. These are the painful parts of the gift of being alive. And while our Namaqua caring community cannot eliminate those inevitabilities, we can and do help one another to make it through. May this be our promise and our prayer. Thank you for all the ways you care for one another. It makes a difference. Blessed be. Lean on Me, 1021. somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. We all need somebody to lean on.
It's not written like the music. Here we go.
Beloveds, each day provides us an opportunity to keep love at the center of our lives. Let this be a place where we learn to love better, giving and receiving this essential element of life that makes it worth living. Blessed be, go forth and serve in love. Amen. In peace.